Here's a patient with major digestive issues, a condition called ulcerative colitis. I want to show you this one. So this patient is a 24-year-old male, so a young man. He has ulcerative colitis and a lot of bowel urgency post-meals, just has to run to the bathroom quite often. Erythritol, that non-sugar sweetener that's in a lot of foods these days, that was bothering him. We made a note about that. He also has a lot of strong allergies, so we know his immune system is part of the equation. Now remember, 60% of your immune system is in your digestive tract, so no surprise that you have immune system imbalances when you have some sort of diagnosed digestive problem. He also had a history of seizures. In fact, he had hydrocephalus as a child. That's where you get way too much water on the brain. You have to have surgery for that. He had surgery at age 6. So there's a big scar on the back of his head and a shunt so that he can drain the water even today. So let me show you what we gave him to take. We started him off with some acid for his stomach, a very common approach that I use. He also needed berberine. Berberine boosts the Th2 side of the immune system. The Th2 side helps people with allergies. It helps people to balance what's called the Th1 side, and the Th1 side is the side that helps with viruses. So he didn't catch a lot of colds, but he did have allergies, so we needed to boost the side to help control the allergy response. He needed trace minerals. So trace minerals contain things like vanadium and chromium, which are major blood sugar balancers. And as you can see on the note here, I put down that he reacted to insulin. So insulin resistance and hypoglycemia, we're always paying attention to those two things. They need to be modulated in order to control the fight or flight response. He went on my gentle GI diet, which is step 3 in my book, the 50 Fix Guidebook. Electrolyte drinks were recommended. I emphasized to him no calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate is in a lot of foods, especially your plant-based milks, your rice milk, your coconut milk, your almond milk. Calcium carbonate is essentially Tums, so it's an antacid. It's taking away acid in the stomach at a time when we're trying to increase the acid in the stomach. We want to increase the acid so that we digest our proteins more efficiently and we absorb our minerals more efficiently. Minerals were a big part of his healing process. We do not want them interfered with by low acid levels in the stomach. He ended up liking as his primary calcium, a calcium called calcium lactate. Sometimes that's kind of surprising. It's not often calcium lactate. Sometimes it is. Citrates, phosphates, there's a lot of other different calciums that people like, but his body liked calcium lactate. He needed a B complex, and then he needed a lot of 5-MTHF. 5-MTHF is activated folic acid. Genetically, a lot of people do not methylate their folic acid well. He didn't, and so we put him on an activated folic acid. He also received a high-quality fish oil. And after a visit or two, I put him on my Core 4 powder to help assist with everything he was already doing and to provide all the additional gut healers that are in there and the modulating adaptogenic herbs that are in there to control the fight or flight response. So let's see how his test looked. This was his original test. You can see he had some pretty big swings, high with his lungs. Lungs on this test over here, lungs are related to the immune system. So ulcerative colitis is very much an immune system issue, an autoimmune issue. And no surprise to see lungs show up on this test. Small intestine, very low, energy low there. The fight or flight system, been working very hard for a long time, so its energy is low. Large intestine, very low. Kidneys over here often mean that you need electrolytes. So digestion, immune system, fight or flight, and a little bit of heart showing up in a young man. Heart showing up in a young man usually means you have to regulate and balance the minerals and provide the appropriate B vitamins, which is what we were already doing, I showed you earlier. That was in July. Just 3 weeks later, we saw a different graph altogether, but a big change. Nothing that you could say, is that a positive? Is that good? But a big change. Then you see things start to level off. This is now the end of August, so a month after that, so about 7 weeks after I first started seeing him. Then in October, we have a fantastic graph. All these greens and a little bit left with fight or flight, but coming down into the normal range. So how did that translate, this graph that got so much better, how did that translate with his subjective symptoms? So when he came in, we knew we had the ulcerative colitis and the bowel urgency. His gut had already started to get better, fluctuating from solid to loose, just within 3 weeks. Then, as I scroll up here, at the end of August, bowels have been mostly normal. Mostly normal in not even 2 months total time. His allergies, he has had allergies still. By the end of October, bowels were nice and solid, and he had gone and gotten a colonoscopy just before that. Came back, it was clean. The medical doctor says, keep doing whatever you're doing. That graph I showed you was a very high score of a 91. Most people, if they get in the 80s, they're doing fine. He had a 91. This young man has continued to do well even to this day. He comes and sees me regularly. He hasn't had any flare-ups, and he continues to have normal bowels. And I expect he will continue to stay normal so long as he puts into practice the things that he's learned, like the foods he needs to avoid. Dairy was a big one for him. And he continues to take certain supplements. Now, he doesn't still need to take all those supplements on his list. He's mostly just taking these days some of my powder, his fish oil, and a little bit of immune support, that berberine that I was using on and off, 3 to 4 times a week for each. And that's the great news. You can calm the fight or flight. You can control your diet because you know what works for you and what doesn't. And you don't have to be dependent upon hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of supplements every month.